Why did we go through desegregation? What's up, blind viewers? How's everybody doing? Now, when I was a school-age kid, I lived across the street from a school. I went to that school for 2 years. Then, everything changed. At the time, I was confused by the whole thing. It only made sense to me that the neighborhood kids went to the school in that neighborhood. Apparently, that kept all the white kids in a school and all the black kids in their neighborhood school. Now, I won't get into all the political aspects of this. I'm just going to speak of what I know and share my experience. Now, desegregation busing started out with moving black and Latino kids into white schools. Sometime in the 70s, the two-way busing started. That is, white kids were also moved to black schools. So basically, they took me and a few of my neighborhood kids and sent us to the black school. I had won a lottery I didn't even know that I had entered and didn't want to win. The same was done with a handful of black kids. So basically, initially, all this meant was that there was a group of black kids being harassed and beaten up in a white school and a group of white kids getting the same treatment in a black school. Yes, I was constantly having to defend myself, and yes, just because of the color of my skin. So, no, black people don't have sole ownership of that experience. Sorry. At first, I would peer out my window and see the school right across the street. I would watch as some of my friends still got to go to that school. I dreaded getting on that bus and going to school. After a few years of complete chaos and not learning a damn thing, things settled down. I made friends and I actually learned a lot. Not from the curriculum, but, culturally. I was eventually taken out of that school and my parents sent me to a private school. Not just any private school, but a Catholic school. Yes. Now, not being Catholic was a shock. I don't know what was worse, getting used to the black kids or the nuns, but that's for another day. Now, it wasn't until I was much older that I understood what the purpose of all this busing was. As a young adult, I was glad I had the experience. I learned that the black students didn't have as much of a chance in their neighborhood schools. The schools were horrible, and the curriculum was juvenile even at the highest levels. I learned that money was spent more on the white schools, which, it made sense because the white neighborhoods had better and higher paying jobs. This, in turn, meant they paid more tax. But the public school system overall was abysmal. I mean, I skated with high passing grades and did little effort in the public schools. In the Catholic schools, I worked my ass off and barely got passing grades in my classes. I think the best thing I learned, though, was the black culture. I learned that old black people had amazing stories. I learned that there's nothing like a black barbecue. I mean, white people just stop. I learned that saying, "I'm going to tell your mom," meant little to nothing. Now, if you said, "I'm going to tell your grandmom or big mama," that would make even the biggest dude stop in his tracks. Now, I know I'm just spouting this little menial things, but it's just, I did learn a lot. I understood more about what this group of people, the ones that I was taught were so different than I wasn't that different after all. And yes, taught. Being raised by my grandparents, they had a very different view of the black community. Now, I think by me having black friends that would visit and come over and hang out, I opened their eyes to a few things. So I think I taught them something as well. I also learned that poor people, no matter what color, had less and got less education. The middle class and richer, no matter what color, were better educated and had more opportunities. Yes, even the blacks. There are plenty of black people I went to Catholic school with that are doing far better than me. So what is the point of all this endless rambling? Well, we went through all this. I saw desegregation. I saw advances in race relations. I saw the acceptance of interracial couples. For what? That was back in the 70s and 80s. Now, in the year 2022, we have gone backwards. It has all been undone. Now, the powers that be want us separated once again. They use race, gender, sexual orientation, and anything else they can think of to make us hate one another. The liberal media shows cops or white people harming blacks. Cops on whites? Black on black? No, not a mention. As far as the media is concerned, black on black crime doesn't even exist. Then we have a hate group with a catchy little name backed by politicians and DAs making sure we hate each other. If you don't raise your fist and yell Black Lives Matter, you are a racist white supremacist. You know, silence is violence and that other white guilt bullshit slogan. If you say white lives matter or all lives matter, you will be beaten or worse. You can be proud to be black or a person of color. You can even be proud of your culture and your heritage. If you're white, no, you can't be proud because that just means you're a racist white devil. We have claims of all these white supremacist groups, and they're used as a reason for this upheaval and bad behavior. Where are they? I'm not saying there's not racism, but where are all these groups at? Now, I remember skinheads and the Klan. They would spout their rhetoric, and we're not shy, and definitely we're not silent at all. Hate groups don't hide in the shadows. They let their voices be heard. I see BLM out shouting, waving signs, assaulting police, hindering traffic, and all kinds of other things, and they're being seen and heard. That hate group isn't shy or quiet. Where are these other groups you say are causing all these issues? I'm sure the media would be all over a group of skinheads marching, but it's not to be found anywhere. So where's that footage at? Hell, even now, celebrating the founding of the very country that gives you the freedom to protest and burn cities is considered racist. After all we went through, after all the strides, it has all been for nothing. Why did we even bother if this is what they wanted all along? They could have saved us all the hassle when we were kids. Oh, that's right. If we all get along, we wouldn't put up with all their shit, and that terrifies them. So we can remember and go back to those days when we played, lived, and worked together, or we can continue on the path that they want, the path of destruction. We can fight until there is nothing left for anyone of any color. But hey, you don't have to agree with me. It's never the point. The point is, this is Blind Views, and that's the way I see it.
What we do here is go back.
Big